Cabin Leather. I'm here in the basement of my log cabin home where I make all my handmade leather products. And today I'm going to tell you about how I create the butterflies I make in leather. I just produced this whole line of butterfly bookmarks, and I've been getting a lot of comments on them, and people were asking how I made the butterflies and so forth. So I'm going to actually go through how I do that today. If you hear a humming in the background, I'm not sure if you can hear that. That's how I cut these butterflies. So I'm going to go over how I do that, and then somewhat how I paint them, and a few of the projects that I make them into. So basically, everything starts out with a drawing. So these are patterns that I make myself. Now this is called a Urandid moth. Most of them are based on real moss. So this is that moth, that moth mounted. So that was the basis for the shape of this butterfly. Luna moth, you might recognize, is the one beside it. So I have all different shapes of real butterflies. These are going to be key rings, which is why it has this piece on, because that will fold over. Um, Here's another one I'm working on. Again, this I haven't finished painting. Again, this is based on a real butterfly. It's an Indian leaf. There'll be a rivet here, and then there'll be a key ring at the top. So that will be a key ring. I have other things that are made out of it, and again, I'll talk about that a little bit. So first it starts with a pattern. And again, patterns, obviously, if they're not the key ring, they don't have this on, I can use it to make patterns for all different size things. Now I'm using that pattern today, but I'm going to show you a lot of things that are this pattern, which happens to be a hair streak butterfly. And with this piece of equipment, I can make these any size I want. So this is so far the largest I've done, or something around there, because it's for a hairpiece. That's a hairpiece. Not sure if that's showing. Um, and I can make them any size in between. This is a new one that I'm painting. It's based on a real butterfly. Again, so I'll talk a little bit more about the painting in a little bit, but I do try to use real pictures to make them look like real butterflies. But this is the same butterfly as that, different size. This is the same butterfly. Now that one's about the size of a dime. I would say even a little bit smaller. So, same pattern. But with this piece of equipment I have, now I can cut that out in detail. Now, if you know anything about leather, and the leather I'm using for this, it comes in different thicknesses. So, I'm trying to make these rugged, especially the little tail pieces and stuff. So they're cut out of a fairly thick piece of leather. There's no way in the world I would be able to do that by hand without getting snips into the corners and the curves, and they would be a mess. I've tried it. Now, this is something I wanted to make for over 40 years. If you don't know much about me, I started doing leather work over 44 years ago now. And the butterfly shapes were not very fancy. I do have some other videos that talk about that. So now what I'm going to do today is I'm going to scan this picture into my program that goes with the piece of equipment I have, which is called a Glowforge. It's over here in this. It's actually kind of like a greenhouse. We weren't sure how much the odor of this would bother my husband. He has some breathing issues. It actually doesn't smell too bad. The leather, it has a little bit of a kind of burning smell, but it really isn't bad. So I'm going to scan the picture in onto this machine. So I just basically have to put it underneath there. Now the problem I have here is I don't know how to do a screen share. I tried to play with that earlier, and yes, I can see, if I look now, I will see a button that says screen share. But once I could see that before I started the video, but once I've started it, I don't believe I have that option anymore. I don't see that there for me to, it's an option to click on. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn the camera for a minute, because I want you to see what I'm doing on the computer. So I'm going to bring you around over here. I'm going to put you down looking at my computer with me. So now I have to go to my software for this. I put my thing underneath, so I have to do create, capture from camera. You can upload things, but these, and now what I have to do is make a circle around it. That might be a little bit too good. I might have to do that one again, because I might be a little bit close to that. Yep, see, I cut off that tip. So I want to try that again. This is the hardest part, really. And sometimes if you stop in the middle of it, it will try to pick up the item before you finish putting it. So now I put it here. If I click on the outside of it, it's going to cut the lines that are in pink. Again, I'm not sure how well that shows on your screen. Cut the lines that are in pink and engrave the lines that are not. So now I take my picture out. I do already have a piece of leather in there. So now I click on Place Artwork. And now that's going to take a minute for that to show up there. So again, I'll go back in a minute and it will. Oops, nope, wrong one. It's rendering my design. Let's go smaller. Alright, so I'm not sure. Now, here is my picture here. And I can put it... It's showing me so much to the corner here. I really didn't want to go over in this corner like that so much. I try to fit them in so I can, you know, get as many things in as possible. So again, I'm not sure if I can fit this in here. So this, you know, I play around with things like this because it is like a puzzle. I can fit these in wherever I want to, as long as it's not too close to the edge. And see what's the best use of my leather. So I play around with it like that. I don't like that either. The purpose of this video, maybe we'll just put it over in here. Let's put it. Again, I place the item in here, and then it will scan it, and then it will print it. And it does take a little bit of time. Alright. Now I can go back to this screen, because now that's going to take a little bit. And when it is ready, my machine over here, there's a button right here, and that will flash right where my hand is. It will flash, and then that means it's ready to print the item. Right now it's scanning it, it's analyzing the size, the shape, things like that, so it knows exactly whether it's going to cut it this tiny, you know, as big as this one. And like I said, once, and again, it does make a little bit of noise. I have this new microphone, and it's supposed to block out some noise, so I'm not sure if it will be too noisy. All right, my button is flashing over here. See that flashing button? I press that, and it's going to start. I'm just going to flip. 8 minutes and 57 seconds it's going to take to print that. Because the engraving actually does take a while. It depends on how you place the item on the machine. And of course, I'm trying to save leather, so I'm going by how it's going to fit and, you know, not waste, you know, waste the least amount of space. But in reality, for it to engrave the fastest, if you have the longer seam, because it's going to engrave everything that's in one line. So like this, because it would get the most out of each stroke, I guess you could say. Because that's what it's going to do, go across like that. Now, I'm not sure if I can get my camera to show you that. I'm not sure how well you can see that in the machine there. It is going back and forth, and it is cutting that and engraving it. Does the engraving first. It engraves the whole outline, but it also will engrave all the little intricate butterfly lines. So now I am going to move the camera back just because that's a little awkward. Once they are cut, and I hope you can still hear me, once they are cut, then depending on what it's going to be, Sometimes I dip them in dye. For like an earring, I want all sides of it to be dyed. So something like the earring, I dip in dye. So I have a little pair of tweezers. I dip it in dye, I let it dry, and then I paint it. For something like the bookmark, the other piece it's going to attach to, again, now here, that's for a key ring. Bookmark, they're sewn onto the bookmark. I was trying to think of other things to make with butterflies because, again, I can't just make jewelry because that is not my category. It shows and so forth, and I don't want to get too carried away with making the jewelry if that's not, because it's not really my category. But see, I have things, again, like the earrings. That's that same butterfly necklace to go with it. Things like that. But I can't make too many I can't make too many things that are just jewelry because that's not really my category. So that's where I came up with the bookmark. That's where the key rings are coming from. Like I said, they are based on real butterflies. But when I started to say, I don't have to so much dye the back of these because if I'm putting on the natural strip, that's the color of the natural strip. So I think that's probably fine this way. Like this one I dyed. I'm not really sure if that's necessary. But if you look, now this is the one that matches that. They are based on real butterflies. So I think that was pretty good. So I do look at pictures, and like I said, you know, this one is in the process. This one is actually in the process. I use acrylic paint. It is put on in very thin layers. And again, unfortunately, I can't really show you that right now. The camera I'm using is not a phone. It is on a tripod, and I have a separate microphone, and I'm in this corner where the Glowforge is, which is what this laser engraver printer is called. I can't move the camera and move the laptop and everything, you know, because everything is attached together. I can't do that. I have stations in my workshop, so this is where the Glowforge is. I have a big table here, which is where I do my cutting and creating my patterns. I have another station where I paint the items. It is also where I put the designs, stamping and tooling designs on things, such as the patterns on this belt and so forth. I have another section of my basement where I do the dyeing of things. So I have all different sections, so I can't take you from one to the other right now. But again, I would dye these in actually my section over there. Once they are dyed, if I was dyeing them and they dry, then they're going to be painted. It is acrylic paint. You use the paint in very thin layers because you want it to absorb into the leather. Now the leather that I'm using is called vegetable tanned leather, and it is this natural color. And that's, it needs to be. It's the way it's tanned. It's tanned with vegetable products. It is biodegradable. It doesn't harm the environment or anything. Tanned with plant matter, mostly the bark from oak trees, a lot of times. And so that you need for the paint to absorb in and to make the types of things I'm doing. Because then the next step that I would do, you know, once a painting is completed, is I'm going to mold it. So as you can see, this has some shape to it. This is actually the same shape butterfly. Again, different size, but it has not really been molded yet. Or I did start to mold it. But again, so this one, very flat. But what I will do now is, again, because it's this kind of leather, I have a special finish I use. I am going to paint it on, and then I am going to just squeeze and shape this a little bit. And because the finish that I put on it is a liquid, it's going to soften the leather enough, and because that's going to harden and it's going to make the paint permanent, it's also going to hold the shape. So then it's going to go like that to be more like this has the shape to it. I don't know if you can see on the back how it does contour. You know, this one contours some, this one does not. And the butterflies on the, again, you can see on the stick that is contoured. You know, it has shape to the wings, not just a shape that's cut in. It's not flat. It does have a little more texture to it, you know. So again, like in the larger one too. So I can make them from as big as I want. I didn't know if people would be interested in the butterflies just for home decor. My newest line that I have out now is dream catchers with butterflies on them. And I don't know if the butterfly even shows it. There's a little Luna moth right there. This is one of the smallest ones in the collection of the 3-inch. But I have up to 12-inch that have butterflies on them as well. So again, same butterflies cut in different sizes, hand painted, so they're all going to be a little bit different. I mean, and so forth, but they are all going to be coming out a little bit different because they are hand painted. Everything is made by me. Let me just flip back here for a second. I'll see if I can turn you with me. And see if we can see how much is left. 56 seconds left. So now it's going to start to cut. Let me get you there. Again, I don't think you can see it. I don't want to step anywhere. Now it's actually cutting the shape. Very precisely cuts around the edges. It's already engraved it, so it's going over those lines that it already made. I don't have a lot of room in this corner to move this tripod, so I apologize for that. So again, it will stop in a second. It has to cool down for a moment, but then the noise will stop. Dropped all my patterns. And then in a minute, I will be able to take it out and be good to go. Makes this little ticking noise. That's how I know it's ready. Because again, I don't generally have my laptop sitting here. I usually have it over in the middle of the room, so I have more space. This is very crowded how I have it here. I can't even get out of the corner here because of where the camera is. So I apologize for that. So I can come over here. It pops out. It's like popping paper dolls out, except actually easier. But again, if you don't, it cuts so precisely. If the marker is thicker, like you're going along the edge, like I'm, making my pattern. If you make a dot that's thicker, I mean, it will even pick that up. It will pick up every little detail. So I do have to be, look at how I'm making the patterns and things to make sure they're the way they want. So now that is going to be the key ring again that matches that picture. And that's pretty much good, so again, the painting would be next. I can actually turn the machine off now. The painting would come next, so that would be over in this other section of my room over here, where I have the paints, and I would paint each individual thing up. Or, again, in series. That's, I paint a bunch of them that are the same, different sizes, things like that, depending on what I'm making. So I'm looking at, the same picture, and I do, of course, have the colors that I use and things like that written down, so I can get it similar to what I did previous to that. But they are all hand painted, so they are going to all come out a little bit different. That's going to wrap it up, I think, for tonight. I hope that was tolerable and you could hear it with the Glowforge going. That's what the laser printer is called. It's called a Glowforge. I bought it last year right before the pandemic hit. So then all my shows and everything got canceled. So a lot of this beautiful stuff that I usually sold at craft shows, I haven't been selling or haven't had places to show it. So I'm trying to really work on my Facebook thing here. So I would really like it if, even if you're watching this on a replay, I understand most of you will be doing that. Hashtag replay, hashtag live, some sort of comment. Whether you found this interesting or not. I do put out this series every Wednesday. I'm trying to shoot for 7 p.m. every Wednesday night, where I bring you into the workshop and I'm showing you different aspects of the things that I'm making, um, and so forth. So obviously sometimes I have lots of other videos out there on Facebook. I also have a YouTube channel and I have lots of videos showing what I make, um, and the processes and things like that. That's going to wrap it up pretty much for now. Again, please leave a comment, things like that. I would really appreciate that. If you want to find out more about me and you are interested in my products, then you might want to join my email. If you join my email, you do get some benefits. I have sales. I have a sale going on this Saturday, Spotlight Saturday series I have, but every other week it's a sale. So the middle of the month it's a sale. This weekend it's going to be Mother's Day gift ideas. Again, shipping has been slow, so I'm trying now to get things shipped. If you want something for Mother's Day, that way you're going to be pretty sure it will be arriving before in time and things like that. It can be shipped directly to the person if you want to do it that way too. Um, I can maybe even do some gift wrapping and so forth if you'd like that. Um, so that sale is Saturday at 5 p.m. on my Facebook page. The last Saturday of the month, I have a trunk sale. That's my biggest sale. But the advantage of joining my email is you get discounts. You get the biggest discounts. I send out an email every Thursday, sometimes a little email blast to remind you about these events and so forth. But if I'm having the sale Saturday, you get access to the sale items Thursday. Um, and most of my items are one of a kind. So if you say you want this and I send you an invoice and you pay for it, then you get it even before I offer it during the sale. Um, so pretty good deal there. You also get put into my product lines. Like I'd love to know now, what other butterfly items people would be interested in, things like that. So I ask for questions and things like that, color choices and things like that for new product lines that I'm coming out with. And other special discounts and savings. I mean, Black Friday, you got it 60% off if you were on my email. So all sorts of deals and special discounts for email subscribers. I call them my VIP insiders. I can put a link after this video if you're interested in joining. And once again, this is Jan Hibbard, Log Cabin Leather by Jan. Thank you very much. Have a great day. Bye.